sign. So am I worried about it? Absolutely not. But I do know that there have been some serious work put into it. Joe, Bill, Scott, Bobby, we've been really working at this. And so it is not because we haven't been putting time into it. It's just that we do not have control over the clouds. And quite honestly, I'm glad we're out of the drought. So it's not anything to be upset about. But anyway, we've got that's going on and doing that. We've got some things that we're doing with our media that's going to be happening. You'll see that rolled out. The baptistry is almost finished. We've got a few things we've got to tailor in and look at that real quick. We're working on Sisson Hall with some color changes and some kids stuff for the kids ministry there. That's our current project right now. And we have upped our internet that we got every week. You'll have some more information actually because it affects a lot of us as we have the weeks coming up because we're streaming our services now. So a lot of great stuff is happening. You're going to see more and more stuff with your eyes, which I'm sure will be a huge benefit. But beyond that, believe me when I say we have a ton of stuff that is on the docket that we want to do, and we'll roll that out as we go. But sometimes it's hard when you don't hear anything about it. I want to make sure that you guys were up to date. Cool? Exciting stuff. It's absolutely exciting stuff, and I can't wait to tell you more about what's coming up in the future. Let's pray one more time. Lord, we will never pray enough. We can never be in your presence enough. So, Lord, again, we just give this to you today, and ask that you would draw something out of us. Draw something out of us, I pray. In Jesus' name. I'm talking about legacy today. I thought that was very appropriate. I'm actually going to have Gary come up and read one of the poems that he just wrote. It's very appropriate for today. And I sat there and I was thinking, Lord, as I'm praying this week, what would you want to say today? What do you want to say? And I was thinking, well, was there a new study that you want us to go through? Is there a new thing we want to jump into? He says, no, I'm not finished yet with the study you're on. And I was like, oh, I already said that I'm finished. And he's like, hey, gun in the face. Here's what the Lord said. I want you to talk about finishing well. No pun intended. Finishing well. If there's anything I've ever learned, it's about that you finish with the end in mind. You start with the end in mind. Because we don't just start a project without knowing where we're going. What you just heard this morning from the Ramoses, they are beginning with the end in mind. What is their end? That people will be reached, that the love of God will be spread. We're not just going to have fun and find a new place to live and enjoy whatever we're going to enjoy. No, we're going because God is sending us to a people to give a message. It shouldn't be any different for any of us. We start with the end in mind. And so when we talk about that, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for you individually? What kind of a legacy is going to come out of what we build, what God builds? What kind of a hopes, dreams, goals do you have for the individual wells, so to speak, that God is digging in your heart and in your spirit? I learned more than anything on this trip to Panama the importance of digging deep and of setting a goal. I want to show you a slideshow. Mike, can you put that up? Panama, what did I tell you about? I'm going to go through, it's about 23 slides. We're going to go through it quick. This is not going to take till 5 p.m., I promise you. But I want to explain to you what I told you before. I was going to show you the history of Foursquare in Panama. Panama that had no Foursquare churches, nobody but somebody who said, I will go. And this is what happened. Panama, 2 legacies. Eli Lerner Latham, also known as Henry, enlisted in the Union Army at age 17 on September the 11th, 1862. He served in the 15th Vermont Volunteer Infantry, Company C. Of the 942 soldiers that served 9 months in the 15th Vermont, 78 died of disease, 1 committed suicide, and 5 were captured. In 1870, Latham married Emma Gardner, and together they have 2 children, Harris and Maggie. Both Harris and Henry became Methodist pastors. Later on, Latham would serve in Cuba during the Spanish-American War in 1898. After that, he came to Panama to do missionary work. While working in the canal, Latham devoted his devoted wife, Emma, were responsible for establishing the Wesley Church in Cologne in the early 1900s. That's on the north side of the Panama Canal. Henry retired from the canal with a small pension, and instead of returning back to the States, Henry decides to, or join the conveniences of Panama City and the Canal Zone. Now remember, the Panama Canal is what's made Panama wealthy. Without the Panama Canal, you wouldn't have what you have. You go to the Panama City, and it looks much like, I don't want to say LA, because LA's got a lot of buildings, but you know how you have the skyline of LA? Several buildings? Same thing in Panama. Not the similar size, but I can tell you it's far bigger, exponentially bigger than Oxnard, Camarillo. It would probably be the size of Santa Barbara, Ventura, Camarillo, Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, Santa Paula, Fillmore combined, and then double that. I mean, it's a pretty good size amount, and they're all scrunched into this area. So instead of enjoying the conveniences of the city, he pushed out to the interior, which is where the tribes are. This is one of the first known attempts to reach the Spanish-speaking people of Panama. Remember, there are about 7 to 10 dialects that exist right there right now, aside from Spanish. Now, at the beginning of the 20th century, many missionary hopes in Panama were blasted by its mosquito-borne illness. 22,000 workers died from malaria and yellow fever during the French attempt to build a canal in the 1880s. Traveling along the coast with the danger of local pirates and attacking ships, he ended up at the port city of Chitre in the province of Hereda on June 8, 1910. I'd explain to you where that is, but I think we'd all be confused. It's in Panama. Latham bought land and facing Chitre's Plaza de la Libertad. That's actually them, or actually I think that's his brother in front of his house. Though. He built his house. He travels on horseback, giving out tracts and Bibles. He cared for the sick, the tired, and the dying. Often he brought people flowers. Every home was open to him. However, resistance to the hostile from the local religious leaders and young men threw rocks in his tin roof to torment the lonely missionary. His wife and 2 children would visit him during the summer. We don't know if that was because of disease. We don't know why, but they would have to come back and forth for various reasons. Eventually, Latham won the secret affection of the people. He was called El Tio, the uncle. Here at the house on the plaza, he gathered local youngsters and taught them stories about Jesus. He remained faithful to his call. The guy that was leading us had actually been in Panama for many, many, many years. He actually met people that knew Tio. He talked to people that knew of Tio, this guy who pushed out and went beyond his borders. He remained faithful to his call. One Saturday morning in August, go ahead and go back. There you go. One Saturday morning, August 18th, 1928, the Canal newspaper known as the Star and Herald read, Army flyers rush clergyman here from interior. Reverend Henry Latham is taken to the Zone Hospital. Latham was brought to Gorgas Hospital in Nakoma. Dr. Judd was the attending physician. Latham passed away on August the 20th, 1928 at 12:54 a.m. with pneumonia after 18 years of living in Chitre. There were no known converts from his ministry. Think about that. After 18 years of taking his small pension and going out to the interior, the jungles with the mosquitoes, and I guarantee you, when you go out there, I went there on that one little trip to the island, they don't look like mosquitoes. They look like birds with siphons on them. They are massive. He went and persevered for 18 years with not one known convert. Next slide. This set him one of the few attempts at evangelizing the Spanish-speaking people of Panama. For unknown reasons, Latham's body was shipped to the United States and he was buried in Arlington National Cemetery, and that's his plot from the Spanish-American War and his Civil War fighting. In August of 1920, Arthur Edwards, owner of the general merchandise store of Morgan Hill, California, contracted pneumonia, and he had an out-of-body experience at his ranch. He went to the gates of heaven and tasted some of hell. Now think about this. He has been moved cross country. He gets this general store and has a farming, and he literally has, it's not an out-of-body, he literally dies on the property. Okay, and so that's what they're talking about. This wasn't just kind of like a vision he had. where he was still alive and well. He literally had a horrible experience. Go ahead and go to the next one. 1 year later, while his wife was suffering from chronic eye infection, Arthur and Edith Edwards attended the Oakland, California crusade of Aimee Semple McPherson. Go ahead and go to the next one. Talks about his wife being healed. For the interest of time, I'm going to go through these with you quicker. For the next year, he faithfully listened to the broadcast on the Foursquare station. Many of you know KSFG was a station for Foursquare that he would listen to. And he had the opening service on January 1st, 1923. Remember the dates. This guy had been in Panama, died in 1928, been there for 18 years. This was opened on 1923. Opened. We're not talking networked and out. That's a key factor. Arthur Edwards has a vision of Balboa. Balboa is a place in Panama. Go ahead and go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Actually, take it back one. Take it back one. He gets this call. In the 500 room, which is one of their multi-purpose rooms over at Angelus Temple. He gets this call to go to ministry, and Sister Amy brings him forward, prays him over him, and said, okay, now go. That was her sending of him. And so he goes, and he's praying there. He has a vision of a man operating an old horse-drawn plow. As he's being prayed for in Los Angeles, he has his vision of a man drawing on a horse-drawn plow. Go to the next one. In the vision, the work had stopped. A man with white hair and a white beard was leaning on the plow with his hand to the brow, looking far off, as if watching for someone. The vision faded. There were no words. There was no interpretation. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. That's them. This is the ship that they went on to get there, called Manchuria. Go ahead and go to the next one. Go ahead to the next one. Go ahead to the next one. Okay, when they arrived through this whole voyage over there, they see this newspaper. How it got there, nobody knows. But when they arrived, it said, noted evangelist arrives here to carry on the work. Follower of Aimee Semple McPherson arrived yesterday aboard the Manchuria. Will erect temple, wife and children, and musicians of note. Nobody even knows how that got in it because it wasn't the case at all. Go to the next one. 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 Mr. Plankenhorn is one of the city representatives, one of the city guys that actually received the Edwards when they came from Los Angeles. He immediately lets him know about Latham, who was in a coma at the hospital, because this guy was obviously of note. The news had spread about him, etc. Here's what I want you to see about this entire story. Arthur Edwards goes and Mr. Plankenhorn arrived at George's hospital. Edwards walked into the room where Latham was in a coma. Instantly, he recognized the man in the vision with the plow. Go to the next one. When he said that, I've got to go to this man's house, because he recognized him. This was the guy he saw in the vision in Los Angeles, and he is now in Panama. And he sees him, he's like, gotta go to this guy's house. Where did he go? Where was he at? Because the Edwards came to be missionaries. So they went to this guy's house in Chitra. And in the Chitra, Latham never regained consciousness, and he passed away right after that. In October, Edwards finally got to the home in Chitra. On the wall was a framed picture of Aimee Semple McPherson, and on his table were several copies of Bridal Call. Bridal Call was her newspaper. Nobody to this day knows how they got there. Remember, this is 1928. Angelus Temple was just built in 1923. To get something out into the backwoods of Panama, how did this get here? We have no idea as to how that happened. But here's the thing. The diary next to Latham's bed read this: I am much along in years, and my strength is waning. Lord, please span the miles. Put your hand on someone else to take up the plow. Last entry. Now, I want you to hear something. By the time Edwards left, there were 73 churches in Panama. To this day, right now, there are over 600 churches in Panama. I ask you, what's your legacy? What's your goal? What's your heart? When you talk about having a well, when you talk about God doing something deep inside of you, what is it that you want to see God do? Do you want to see a young man in junior high come and say, yes, I want Jesus? Do you want to see the homeless population go down? Do you want to see people with addictions be broken of them? Do you want to see people come and be resourced and blessed? Marriages healed, people healed physically. What do you want to see happen? Because when Jesus came to the well and that woman was sitting there, why are you even talking to me? I don't understand why you've been talking to me. And the conversation progresses. He says, guess what? If you would have known the water that I have, you wouldn't even have asked, because you would have gotten it and you would have never had to drink it. He's sticking to the healing that would happen in our hearts. Something that was far beyond the moment of getting sustenance, of getting that fresh drink of water. He says, I'm thinking bigger than that. Because he goes on to say, guess what? There's going to be a day when you're not going to worry about where you worship. The time the Samaritans were like, well, we have the temples here. This is a holy place. This is a holy city. No, this is the holy city. And he said, you know what? You don't get it. Because there's going to come a day when people who are true worshipers, who love me with their heart, will worship in spirit and in truth. And if you're going to worship in spirit and in truth, it's not going to matter where you are. Because as Jeremiah said, I will be their God, they will be my people, and I will write my law onto their hearts. Not in a synagogue, not in a scroll, not in a holy of holies. And we know he put it together, and the whole prophecy was fulfilled when the veil ripped down, because he said it's not about a particular place. Sometimes we go through life and we don't think that we're making much of a difference. Sometimes we don't know if it's just coming into an office and saying, hey man, I'm here to do some youth. I'm here to be used as ever you want to be used. We don't know what that does in the long term. We don't know what it does to say, you know what? I'm going to pass out bulletins so that somebody that walks in here feels like they're noticed. That they feel loved. You know, one of the hardest things that we have, I'm at the hospital here in Santa Clarita. There's actually people that stop taking their medications and just live. But that we shore it up. And we make sure it's reinforced. So that 3,800 years down the line, in 2017, Jacob's Well, family dynamic. The goal is getting people out there into here so they can experience that family dynamic that we have here. What are our values? What are our goals? I ask myself all the time, when we talk about Project 54-2, John, is your goal to have a great looking sanctuary? John, is your goal to have the best looking kids ministry or whatnot in the world? Or is your goal to see the kids come and find Jesus in the most relevant manner possible? Is it my goal that people come into this room and no matter how it sounds or whatnot, that it is facilitating an encounter with Jesus Christ? I absolutely believe that that's the case. And I pray all the time, God, if that is not the case, I'm passing out a paper to you. It's 11:23. I don't want to continue to apologize. I know we're trying to truncate our services and get them smaller. But you know what? I feel like God wants to do something in us right now. And I'm giving a paper out to you. And I want everybody to have one. If you don't have a pen, please raise your hand. We're going to get you a pen. And here's what I want you to do. On this paper, you have the opportunity to write this. What are 5 values that you have? What do you value? Do you value a relationship with Jesus? Do you value integrity? Do you value serving? Do you value, and there's no wrong answer. Unless you put Satan there. Then we got some problems. Okay? But what I'm trying to do is, I want you to do this. I want you to be thinking with the end in mind. What is going to get us to the place that we need to be? When you're talking about your relationship with Jesus, what are the values? What are the things you hold dear? And I got to ask you, if there's some things there that you're afraid to write down, don't write them down. But ask yourself why they're of value for you. Because I tell you, if your well is built on things that will crumble, you won't have a legacy. We won't have something to live beyond ourselves. And that's the goal. That's what Jesus wants from you. He says, put to death the old man. And put all that junk that you have inside of you, put it aside and let me do what I want to do within you. And the sky's the limit. What are your values and then your goals? What would you like to see happen in your life? This is your personals. Art asked me in service last week, and it was the last week or the week before, about the conference and whatnot, and I let you know. I had an opportunity to write my values down. Things that I value. And believe me, there's things that changed while I was there because of things that impacted me on how I know that God's calling me to live. Some things were out of whack. I'm like, okay, wait, this is what God wants to shift me in this season of my life. And he said, John, this is what I want you to be about. Are these the only values that you have? Absolutely not. Are these the only goals that you'll have for the rest of your life? Absolutely not. Let God add to them. But let this be a starting point. And what I'm going to ask you to do, just take 3 more minutes. It's 11:27. We're going to be running to the sharp. I want you to write them down, and I want you to write your name on it. And we're going to collect them. And we're going to put them into a nice, either laminated, or I'm going to try to find even a frame. And I'm going to give them back to you. And I want you to put it on your bedside. I want you to put a magnet on it to your refrigerator. I want you to put it in some place. And then there's going to be a place where you look at it and remind yourself, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm about. Because if we lose sight of what God is calling us to do, we'll get lost. Take a few minutes, give me 3 more minutes to write down your goals and your values. If you don't have 5, write down what you have. If you only have 1 goal, that's fine. I do know, even myself, I have times in the past when I've done the letters to Jesus, and I take mine home, and I never fill it out. And I'll come back in June and go, oh, I forgot to do this. And so I recognize the fact that if we take it home, we'll just kind of put it aside, it'll never come back. So I am asking, though, that I'm going to try to collect them. I'm going to collect them before we leave. So just take some time. You'll get them all back. They will not go on Facebook. They will not go in the newspaper. They will not go on the internet. This is you and Jesus. But I feel like the Lord's calling us to finish well. Just to give you an idea, it's 11:20. Let's wrap 1 more minute. I'm the kind of guy who likes to count down, right? I'm the Jeopardy guy. No. Again, this be the last time you do this. This does not have to be comprehensive of your entire life. This is a start, and I pray something that will kind of create a habit that will continue on. It's 11:30, so I'm going to go ahead and finish with this if I can have your attention real quick. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision down on tablets and make it plain, so that all may see and run that reads it. This is something that didn't just happen in the prophets and Habakkuk. Think about Moses. Why did God have Moses get the 10 Commandments? Why the tablets? Write the vision down and make it plain so that all who see may run and who reads it. Why did Jesus input his life into the disciples, and the disciples would sit down and write the Gospels? Because they understood, write the vision down and make it plain. All who see it will run. Why did Paul write his letters to the churches? The New Testament. Write the vision down, make it plain, so that all who see it will run. Sometimes we need to write it for ourselves. Because there's going to be a point where we get tired. There's going to be a point where we don't want to run. But if we bring the vision down, when we read it, we can run. And we know the direction in which to run. Amen? Amen? Amen. Lord Jesus, we ask that right now, Lord, that you would bless Lala. We ask that you would comfort her. Comfort the family as they celebrate a life well lived. Lord, as there has been a legacy to Grandpa Tim, as there will be a legacy through Lala, as there will be a legacy that each one of us will live and pass along to those who are around us, Lord God, let us keep focused. Let us finish well. We thank you for it in Jesus' name we pray. Amen? You want to stand? God is good. And all the time. We can never say it enough. We can never believe it enough. Because he wants to do massive, massive, massive things in our lives. Write the vision down. And make sure you pass that in. I'm going to get it back to you all nice and laminated up. It'll be great. And you're going to love it. But remember to, what? Oh my gosh. Gary, forgive me, man. I've gotten the mouth. This is the most horrible thing I've ever done.
That's all right.
No, it's not. Read your poems, bro.
Okay, real quick, I wanted to say to Rob and his family, you know, that I read in Jeremiah 33:3, it says, call out to me and I'll answer you, and show you great and mighty things, the things you don't know. So you go with your family and be blessed. And I'm going home and telling my sister we're buying a pit bull. I get inspired all the time by a lot of things, and most of my inspiration comes from God, of course, through other people. And when Pastor has been talking about this, the whale, and naming our church the well, I got inspired to write this poem, which is called The Well. It says, come to the well of life, drink as it flows, knowing that God is there through all highs and lows. Partake in the blood and the body of Christ, for no one can compare to his sacrifice. Believe in your heart that Jesus is the Word. Then go out and tell those who haven't heard that there is no name higher than that of the Lord, who will always protect us with the power of his sword. The veil tore in half, the earth rolled and shook, and with his life our sins he took, so we could be free and no longer a slave, so that we ourselves may conquer the grave. The living water is pouring down from above into the well of life with overflowing love. Jesus is the well of life.
Amen. Thank you, Jerry. God bless. go and do awesome, awesome things for him. Amen? We'll see you Wednesday night.